Hello everyone. You always hear about the Jimny as a very capable off-roader. However, you don't get many people talking about what it's like to really live with every day and also what it's like to drive on the road. So today I'm going to show you and tell you a little bit about some of the great things about having the Jimny and driving it around in the suburbs and in the city. And I'm also going to share with you some of the things that you might sacrifice with having a Jimny as well. Well, what is it like to drive around town and use as everyday driver? I'll preface with saying that overall is pretty good. There's nothing really that's going to be an absolute deal breaker or something that you just absolutely can't live without. And I think it's also a little bit about your perception as well. If you're coming from, say, like a luxury European car, some of these things will be a little bit noticeable than others. But overall, it's pretty good. You've got a pretty short wheelbase, so it makes the steering very direct. However, it also does mean that sometimes it can be a little bit to wrestle at lower speeds, say if you're in like a car park or something. In terms of visibility, while you do have quite a low roofline, particularly for a taller person like myself, you do get great visibility out and around. I'm also a big fan of the fact that if you've got the window down like this, your elbow rests really, really nicely on the side here, and you can sort of see down and take a look as well. It gives a very relaxed feel to the ride. Another great thing is that this thing is easy to park. Reversing, parallel parking, it's so thin that it's just fantastic and so easy. I do have the reversing camera, which also helps. However, if you're going into a busy car park and you're worried about the car being dinged or anything, because it's so thin, if you choose a side park, you can really get up close to it and leave a big gap between yourself and the car next over, which just gives a bit more peace of mind as well. There is one thing which you will notice if you buy a Jimny, and that is the amount of body roll that the car has. It is quite noticeable, particularly at higher speeds if trying to take corners. It's also noticeable as well if you're entering up a curb or into a driveway. It can rock back and forwards quite a lot. It can also be quite fun as well, because I can actually just shake this car with just my weight alone. And sitting at lights can be quite fun and entertaining for other drivers if you're there and shaking it away. Now I'm on the motorway, and if I could say that there is one thing which the Jimny doesn't do well, and it would probably be its number one thing it doesn't do well, it is high speeds. I've got the automatic, so it's only got a 4-speed gearbox in it. And it's not 4 speeds and overdrive, it is really just 4 speeds. What that means is that if you're doing 100 kilometers an hour, you're sitting at about 3,000 revs. So not only do you get quite a lot of engine noise, because of the shape of the car being a bit of a box as well, you also get quite a lot of wind noise. You can also notice as well at high speeds that if it's a very, very windy day, that the car will get blown around a little bit too. However, if you've got a steady arm and you hold on tight, you can just go through it. It's not going to blow you off the road or anything dramatic like that. It feels a little bit like driving a van sometimes, though. That's the best way I describe it. You've got a very short bonnet, you're up high. Now, I have taken this car on a couple of road trips already, and passing can be a little bit of a challenge. You really do need to get a bit of a run up if you want to get any sort of speed behind you, and to really execute a maneuver safely, you really do need a proper passing lane. Attempting to overtake someone on a B road or something, unless it's a really slow truck or a tractor, will be a challenge for you. There's not a whole lot of get up and go and talk in this. Now I'm just outside of the city on sort of a semi-country road. I'm doing about 80 kilometers an hour. And driving these roads is a lot of fun. You're up high and you certainly feel the body roll. You won't get around corners as fast as other cars, say like a sedan or something. However, it'll handle most of what you throw at it, as long as you don't fancy yourself as a race driver or something. You're certainly not going to get yourself in any sort of trouble. and it can be a lot of fun. Here we go. In terms of the technology within the car, up here is a camera which is pointing out. Now that controls the collision warning and also the lane assist warnings. I have found those to be a little bit trigger happy at times, so I do find myself occasionally turning them off. In terms of the infotainment system, you've got calling, you've got Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you've got the Suzuki guidance, and you've also got your stereo. Now, because you have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you more or less makes everything else redundant if you are using that. If you're not, the Bluetooth works well, but the navigation isn't so great. On the steering wheel, you do have some call buttons here, which will allow you to hang up calls and also answer them. Down here is also the voice activation help. I have found it to be a little bit hit and miss in terms of asking it to call certain people or to navigate. Up here is your cruise control, and I will quickly show you a clip of why sometimes it's not the best cruise control. At high speeds, it does get a little bit excited. And down here you have the window wiping stock. The only thing I'd note here is that the intervals, there's no way to change the amount of intervals. It's purely just a one speed setting. I'm coming to the end of my video now, and I'll go back to what I originally said at the start, and that is that if you had any major or grave concerns about how the Jimny performs on the road and whether it's suitable for you, you likely have nothing to worry about. I would say that the only exception would be if you're planning to use it for a very long commute or doing a lot of long drives on a regular basis. You might find that it's not quite up to the level that you'd hope it could be. And saying that, I'll also go back and talk about what I said around perception as well. If you're coming from another sort of similar style economy car, you're probably not even going to notice some of these drawbacks. In terms of around town, the Jimny is just fantastic. It's got all the maneuverability that you'll like, it's easy to park, and you've also got all the tech inside that really makes a big difference, with the one particular thing being the Android Auto and the Apple CarPlay. In terms of medium speeds and sort of country driving, also a lot of fun, very, very capable. You're not going to have any issues there. So going back would really just be that high speed motorway driving, and even for short bursts it is completely fine. You've still got enough get up and go when you need it. It's really just when it comes to overtaking, then you might find some challenges. All right everyone, thank you for watching and have a nice day.